American actress and singer Mandy Moore recently took to social media to express her deep appreciation for the Los Angeles Fire Department, LAFD, after their heroic efforts in helping her during a devastating situation. The 40-year-old star shared a heartwarming post in which she acknowledged the incredible work done by the LAFD, who worked tirelessly to combat the Eaton fire, which was located just about 30 miles from the Pacific Palisades fire. The fire had caused significant damage, and Mandy's home was one of the properties that was directly affected. In her post, Mandy took a moment to not only show her gratitude for the first responders but also to capture an intimate and touching moment of the firefighters enjoying a well-deserved break while eating fast food. As they took a pause from their exhausting work to grab a bite to eat, Mandy shared how profoundly grateful she was for their dedication and resilience. She captioned the post with a message that read, "Grateful doesn't cover it. Hope these guys got a round of double-doubles on the house." This simple yet heartfelt statement reflects her appreciation for the men and women who risked their lives to protect others. Mandy's social media post not only highlighted the heroism of the Los Angeles Fire Department but also served as a moment of reflection for her. She openly spoke about her own emotional journey as she navigated the aftermath of the fire. Despite her home being affected by the devastating wildfires, she experienced a sense of survivor's guilt as her property was spared from total destruction, unlike many others. In her candid post, Mandy expressed her deep sadness and the overwhelming sense of guilt she felt for having a home that, while damaged, was still standing. In the post, Mandy described how she and her family were able to return to their street and bear witness to the incredible loss that others had faced. She mentioned that, miraculously, the main part of her house had survived the fire, though it was no longer livable due to damage sustained from the flames. Despite the structure still being mostly intact, it was clear that their home was no longer a place where they could reside comfortably. "We were able to park and walk up our street to bear witness to all the loss," Mandy wrote in her post. "Miraculously, the main part of our house is still standing. For now. It's not livable but mostly intact." This comment underscores the profound emotional impact the fires had on her as she reflected on how fortunate she was compared to so many others whose homes were completely destroyed. Mandy went on to share more of the personal losses she and her family experienced as a result of the fire. She revealed that they had lost the studio belonging to her husband Taylor Goldsmith and his bandmate, Griffin, which contained every instrument and piece of equipment they had ever owned. In addition to the studio, they lost their garage and the back house. For Mandy, these losses were difficult to process, but the larger picture of the destruction that had affected so many others in her community weighed heavily on her heart. "We lost Taylor and Griffin's studio with every instrument and piece of equipment they've ever owned. We lost our garage and back house," Mandy continued. "Everyone we know lost everything. Every house on our street is gone." This statement reveals just how widespread the devastation was, not only for Mandy and her family but for everyone in her close-knit community. The sense of grief she felt was compounded by the realization that so many people around her had lost everything. In her emotional post, Mandy also expressed her concern for her extended family members and friends who were directly impacted by the fires. She mentioned her in-laws, who had also lost their home in the fire, and her brother and sister-in-law, who were just 6 weeks away from welcoming their first child into the world. "My in-laws. My brother and sister-in-law, 6 weeks from welcoming their first baby. Our best friends," she shared, highlighting the very personal toll the disaster had taken on her loved ones. Amid all of this heartache, Mandy also acknowledged the deep sense of survivor's guilt that she had been grappling with. Survivor's guilt is a common psychological reaction to tragic events where individuals feel guilty for surviving when others did not. In Mandy's case, this sense of guilt was compounded by the knowledge that while her home had been damaged, it had not been completely destroyed. This internal struggle was something she openly discussed with her followers on social media, showing her vulnerability and her genuine emotional response to the devastation around her. "Feeling weird survivor's guilt," Mandy wrote. "We love this community and will do everything we can to help rebuild and support." Despite the overwhelming emotions she was experiencing, Mandy expressed a deep commitment to her community. She spoke of her desire to do everything she could to help those who had been affected by the fires and to support efforts to rebuild what had been lost. It was clear that while Mandy was navigating her own personal challenges, she also wanted to play an active role in supporting her neighbors and friends who were facing even greater hardship. Her post resonated deeply with many of her fans, who praised her for her honesty and for using her platform to shed light on the ongoing crisis that many were enduring. Mandy's words were a reminder of the human side of natural disasters, the emotional toll it takes on those affected and the efforts that are required to rebuild in the aftermath. Her post not only celebrated the hard work of first responders but also showed the importance of community, resilience, and hope in the face of unimaginable loss. While Mandy's home may have been spared from complete destruction, the fire's impact was still profound. The damage to her property, the loss of cherished belongings, and the sense of helplessness as she witnessed the destruction of her neighborhood were all deeply emotional experiences for her. Yet even through the heartache, Mandy's message was one of strength, compassion, and a resolve to help those in need. As the fires continue to ravage communities and destroy homes, Mandy's story serves as a reminder of the importance of supporting one another and coming together in times of crisis. It also highlights the crucial role that first responders play in these difficult situations, risking their lives to protect others and provide aid to those in need. Through her post, Mandy was not only expressing gratitude for the LAFD but also encouraging others to reflect on the impact of these fires and to consider ways in which they can help support those who have lost everything. In conclusion, Mandy Moore's heartfelt post serves as a poignant reminder of the resilience of individuals and communities in the face of disaster. It also underscores the importance of gratitude, as well as the need to recognize the heroes who work tirelessly to protect and serve others in the most challenging of circumstances. As Mandy continues to process her own emotional journey, she has shown great strength and compassion in her commitment to rebuilding and supporting her community.